In the beginning, God created all the clouds and the earth. He created all the plants within the earth. He created the moon, the sun, and all of the stars in it. And in this earth he placed all the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals on the ground. And he created Adam. God knew that Adam needed a companion. So out of his rib, he made Eve. Now Eve and Adam were placed in the Garden of Eden, and there was a tree called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the one rule was that they could not eat the fruit from that tree. But the serpent, who was Satan, deceived Adam and Eve and told them to eat it. And Eve, well, she ate it. But through this all, God's promises remained true. And Eve's seed would soon come, and it would crush the head of the serpent. But this is coming soon, and we have a lot more to talk about.
Later on down the line, as Adam and Eve's descendants grew, people became unrighteous, and God was not very happy with them. He was angry, he was frustrated, and he was sad. But there was one man, his name was Noah, and God found favor with Noah because he was righteous, because he trusted God. God then tasked Noah to build an ark, which is a giant boat. Because of God's anger and wrath, he decided that he was going to flood the earth, and the ark was going to save Noah, his family, and all of the animals on the earth. And so he flooded the earth. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And so over a period of time, the waters receded, and then God made a covenant with Noah, saying that he was never going to flood the earth, and that's where we get the rainbow.
Well, and that moves us to a couple named Abraham and Sarai. Now God led Abraham and Sarai from Canaan all the way up into Egypt. Now Abraham and Sarai really wanted a baby, but there was a problem. They couldn't. But God, who is faithful, changed Abram's name to Abraham and promised Abraham that his descendants would be greater than all the stars in the sky. And through that he had a son named Isaac. Now Abraham was challenged by God to go up to the mountain and sacrifice Isaac to God.
But God did provide a sacrifice, and Isaac lived. Isaac then found some love and had a couple of sons. Their names were Jacob and Esau. Esau, being the oldest, had all the birthright, but he traded it for food. Upon receiving Esau's birthright and blessing and the continuation of God's promise to Abraham, Jacob got out of there. He ran away. He found some love, and he had a bunch of kids. Count them up. There are 12 of them. After he had all of his kids, Jacob and his family ran away again. They ran away, and while they were running away, Jacob actually fought with God. And God changed his name to Israel to continue the promise of creating a people for himself.
Now Israel, like most parents, had a favorite son, and that favorite son was named Joseph. And he treated him like a favorite son. He gave him a cool coat with many colors, and his brothers absolutely hated him. So, just like that, they sold him into slavery. But he wasn't worried because his eyes and his heart was set on God. And he was happy even in the midst of all these things that happened. And during that, he got thrown into jail for doing nothing wrong. But Pharaoh had a dream that he could interpret. And when he interpreted the dream, Pharaoh saw and knew that God was on his side, so he made him second in command over all of Egypt. Now, during this time, there was a famine going on, and Joseph's entire family, the one that threw him into slavery, came back to him to receive food. And during this, Joseph said something remarkable. He said, "What you intended for evil, God intended for good."
See, guys, that's what this entire book of Genesis is about. Us messing it up, but God making it good. We see it with Adam and Eve. It was intended to be perfect, but they messed it up. We see that the earth was flooded to start over. God then made a promise to Abraham and said, "I will make you my people. Your descendants will outnumber the stars in the sky." And we see that ultimately fulfilled through the rest of the book. And ultimately we see that God turns it all for good through Christ. What's cool is this is only the beginning.